Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. So you own a restaurant, right? Your restaurant actually does really good reviews. And you do really good business, particularly on the weekends. You're always prepared. You're fully staffed. The food is good. The atmosphere is great. You get a really good mixture of people coming through. And business is rolling. And you don't have it down to a science, but you're pretty much prepared for anything. Only except on this particular Saturday night, your restaurant, Giannis shows up to your restaurant. And not only does Giannis show up to your restaurant, which has a capacity of 50 people, and by the way, there isn't a seat in the house. You sold out tonight. And you're running good. And at about 8:30, Giannis shows up to your restaurant. Just shows up. Not only does he shows up with like 6 of his friends. Wait a minute, I'm not prepared for that. Can we find him a table? How are we going to find him a table? We're sold out. Well, not only are we sold out, I'm going to lose business here. Because I'm not prepared for that. I was prepared for anything else. I'm not prepared for this. This really screws me up when something like this happens. And on top of that, I can't prepare for it, which is why I'm not prepared for it. What's the same idea with the Boston Celtics? When you get Al Horford going for 16 in the fourth quarter, who's averaging 26 a game. If I'm not mistaken, he's 26 and 13 in the last 2 games that they've played against the Milwaukee Bucks. We're not prepared for that. He's 14 and 6 in the second half. We didn't prepare. The reason why we didn't prepare for that, because we didn't think we had to. This is a dude that's averaging 10 points and 8 rebounds. How are we prepared? How can we prepare ourselves for him to go 26 and 13 in the last 2 games? How can we prepare for that? We can't. So when you get minutes like that from him, in addition to what Jason Tatum did, what Jaylen Brown does, giving you 18 points. Well, if Jaylen Brown could keep himself out of foul trouble, I think that they would have won that game going away. So you get the production you get from Al Horford. You get what you're going to get from Jason Tatum, who I'm already prepared to eat that production. I'm already prepared to eat that because I already know who he is. We're going to do everything that we can to try to slow him down. But I'm going to eat his production, right? I think Jrue Holiday is going to do his best to deal with Marcus Smart, and we'll get to Jrue Holiday in a minute. I'm going to do my best to deal with Marcus Smart. Grant Williams is going to give you what Grant Williams gives you off the bench. We can handle that. We're prepared for that. What we're not prepared for is the Al Horford production. We're not prepared for that. And because we're not prepared for that, we can't combat it. And there's a reason why Al Horford is the way he is at the end of games. Well, number one, they don't rely on him to do what he's doing. What he's doing is a bonus. What he's doing is extra. I said this a while ago that I thought that Jaylen Brown would be the difference in this series. Well, it turns out that it's Al Horford. And why is it Al Horford? Because he looks fresher at the end of games. Considering him having to deal with Giannis for the majority of the game, he looks fresher. And the reason why he looks fresher is because he's getting more help. Not just defensively, but offensively too. So when we get down to the fourth quarter, Giannis is gassed. Giannis is holding on to his shorts. They go plays where Giannis gets the ball on the left wing and they just clean the whole left side of the floor out. Well, when Boston, who is the best defensive team in the league, loads up on him, you need guys to make shots. Well, that's not happening. Jrue Holiday didn't give them much. Right, we're talking about a dude who went 2 for 12 in the second half. Now, I'm a huge Jrue Holiday fan, and I think that Jrue Holiday can win you a game. He may be able to win you 2 games. But it's amazing how much they miss Middleton. Incredible how much he makes up for what Grayson Allen isn't doing, what he makes up for what Bobby Portis didn't give them. Because he takes a lot of pressure off of them. Because now what they have to do with Middleton off the floor is, now we got to do more. It's not like we got to do more because Middleton is off the floor and he's going to come back in 5 minutes. No, we don't have him at all. So the 5, 6, 11, 13 points that I would normally give them, plus playing defense, now they expect more from me. And they expect that from me on a nightly basis. That's going to be hard to do. That's going to be really hard to do. I picked Milwaukee in 6 in this series, and I think the winner of Game 5 wins this series. I think that it's going to be a dogfight. I think the needed adjustment that Coach Bud needs to make is getting guys, Drew Holiday, getting Grayson Allen, getting those guys in position where Giannis can make plays for them to make open shots. That's the adjustment that needs to be made because I think that they're really good defensively. I'm having a difficult time with the notion that Al Horford is outplaying Giannis. I mean, Giannis went 34 and 18. I mean, he didn't really do much in the fourth quarter. I think he had 9 points, which is a big deal, but he was gassed. But Giannis is giving them everything that he can give them. The adjustment here is do everything that we can to slow down Jaylen Brown. And I'm thinking, let Jaylen Brown get going early. If he gets going early, odds are he's not going to get going late. Not let him get going, just make it difficult on him. Make it difficult on him. So I'm really interested to see this Game 5. I'm really interested to see how the Milwaukee Bucks come out offensively, not defensively. And since we're on the subject of getting going, Philadelphia did not get going at all. To watch a team who your starters combined for less than 60 points, not 2 guys, but your entire starting 5 together, collectively, we got 58 points out of them. 58. And that's largely due, and I'm going to say it, that's largely due to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid plays the entire first quarter. I get 1 rebound and 0 blocks from him in the entire first quarter. He plays the whole 12 minutes. I stand on this when I say this to you guys. When your big man comes out and he's ready to roll, when your big man comes out and he's rocking and rolling and he's exuding energy, we feed off of that energy. I thought that they did a poor job in getting him the basketball early. Philadelphia did. Their post-entry passes were atrocious. I think that the game plan was good because everything could be over the top when you're playing against the zone. Everything is over the top. Absolutely. Because what we're doing is we're bringing the zone up. And we're basically planting Joel at the free throw line or in the pinch post. And we're going over the top of the zone. Well, we got to get him the basketball. We can't throw the ball in the first row. We can't throw the ball off the backboard. We have to get him the basketball. And they haven't been doing that. And he also has to play with more energy. On the defensive end, for me to get 1 rebound and no blocks out of him in the entire first quarter that he played, that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Now, what also a lot of people kind of got sucked into is what they saw from James Harden. James Harden is back. That was an anomaly. That was something that the James Harden, not the James Harden you saw yesterday, but the James Harden you've seen throughout the playoffs. That's the James Harden that you should expect to see. 17, 18, 8, 9 assists. That's the James Harden that you should expect to see. I think he went 1 for 5. I think he went 1 for 5 in the second half. No assists, 2 turnovers. Their energy level was completely abysmal. And I thought Spo did a really good job of capitalizing on that, stretching them out. And making them guard for not just making them guard for stretches, which they don't want to do, which they do not want to do. And he sped them up when he needed to speed them up, which is the most important thing with Philadelphia. We'll speed you up when we need to speed you up, but we can also play the game at our tempo. And I thought Spo did a great job at that. I thought he did a phenomenal job at that. Their energy level was great. Strauss came out cracking the long ball. Bam came out with incredible energy, running the floor like he does. And what can I say about Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler is the guy that you really don't pay attention to that you need to. Jimmy Butler has been the consummate pro, and he's been one of the better pros in the game for a long time. He's got a really good mid-range game. He's good in transition. And Jimmy Butler's got one of those games where I'm going to impose my will on you. Because Jimmy doesn't blow you away with his skill set. He's not super nice with the pill. He's not skipping in the lane and throwing it over guys. Not super duper athletic. But he's just going to impose his will on you. I'm better than you. And I'm going to prove it. I'm having a really difficult time with that effort from Philadelphia, and that has to change in order for them to have a shot in this series. I expect a different effort from them, definitely. And since we're on the subject of effort, I really enjoyed that effort last night from Phoenix. Yes, I did. And the reason why I enjoyed that effort last night from Phoenix, because they recognize exactly what's at stake here. And we can't go down in this series. And I thought one of the things that helped them out the most is exactly what I talked about with Joel Embiid. They got Ayton involved early. In the second quarter, he really got going. And once he got going, that actually sped up their game. Because that's who they are offensively. They're more of a transition team. They're not a walk the ball up, throw the ball into the... No, that's not who Phoenix is. Phoenix is a let's get the ball moving, let's get people moving, and let's get out and run. And Devin Booker is phenomenal in transition. And he makes it his business to go after whoever is in front of him, and particularly Finney Smith. I thought that he did a good job in going after him and making him guard. And on top of making him guard, forcing him into giving the basketball up and tough shots in the second half. He only shot 2 shots in the second half. So what you saw in Finney Smith, I thought that Book did a good job in running him off the long ball line and making him put the ball on the floor and making him be a playmaker, which is a weakness of his. I thought they did a really good job at that. Absolutely. I think we also have to give Phoenix a lot of credit on the job that they've done on Luka. I know you saw the 45-point game in a 37-point game, but they're switching. With Mikal Bridges keeping his hands busy. I love Mikal Bridges. I was a huge Eddie Jones fan when I was younger. And that's who Mikal Bridges reminds me of. I see Eddie Jones in him. And with the switches that they get and keeping Luka as far away from the basket as they possibly can and forcing him into tough shots. And with them doing that, that speeds up their game. When they force him into tough shots and get the ball out quickly, whether it's going through the basket or it's getting a rebound and going. But they've done a really good job on Luka. I mean, he's 8 for 25 in the second half. In these last 2 games, 8 for 25 in the second half, 1 for 9 on the long ball. I think they've done a really good job on Luka. Absolutely. And to get Ayton involved early like they did, going to him early, Ayton is rim running more, right? Ayton is protecting the paint more. He's doing more of those things when they get him involved early. And what can I say about Chris Paul? Just the consummate pro. And Chris Paul's not going to blow you away all the time with buckets because I'm older now. I can still do that stuff, but I'm a little older now. And in this series, this is a series where Chris Paul is one of those guys who has to just man the offense. I just got to man my troops. I thought they did a really good job in the second half in keeping Brunson in front of him. Forcing him into tough shots, and forcing him into turnovers, particularly in the third quarter. Brunson had 4 turnovers, and that was largely due to just keeping him in front of him, not just keeping him in front of Chris Paul, keeping him in front of him, but also forcing him into tough shots. Because you could get a pass and a shot, which is a bad shot. That's the equivalent to a turnover, especially early. It's the equivalent to a turnover. I thought they did a really good job at that. I expect Dallas in Game 6 to come out fighting for their lives. It's an elimination game. They lose, they're out. And I expect them to come out fighting for their lives. And I think Phoenix knows that. And I think Phoenix comes in with the same attitude. Because we all know what could happen in a Game 7. Anything could happen in a Game 7. We all know that. Anything could happen in a Game 7. We all know that. I thought this series would be quick work, but I didn't expect Chris Paul to take the dive that I'm not going to say dive. Dive's not the word I'm looking for. I didn't expect Chris Paul to play as badly as he did in games 3 and game 4. I did not expect that. And that was largely due to just him not being heady. That was very uncharacteristic of him. He's a lot better than that. And I expected what I saw last night. I expect that Chris Paul moving forward, because that's the more familiar Chris Paul that I know, right? And since we're on the subject of quick work, I thought that Memphis would be quick work. I thought Golden State would make quick work of them. And all I could really say about that series is exactly what it's been from the beginning, with Steve Kerr and even Mike Brown implementing Steve Kerr's plan, which is, we're going to match you athletically, and we'll keep it close. And at the end, you're going to fold up. Now, don't get me wrong. Ja being out of the lineup, that hinders them, no question about that. But your vets, our vets are better than your vets. And the teams that you saw before us, you've seen Minnesota. They're not as disciplined as we are. And Minnesota exposed how undisciplined you are. And we're going to expose that even more, which is what they did in game 4, where Steph Curry, who they had a really good handle on him. I thought they had not only did they have a really good handle on him, they had a really good handle on Klay Thompson too. Really good handle on Klay Thompson, who I think you guys are unfairly judging him at this point. You expect to see the same Klay Thompson that you saw 3 years ago just because he's out there. Are you guys aware that Klay, Steph, and Dre, they've been together longer than Magic, James Worthy, and Jabbar. They've been together longer than Scottie Pippen and Jordan. They're together longer than Shaq and Kobe. A trio that's been together that long. And since 2015, since they've been healthy, that's 7 seasons. Since they've been healthy, since 2015, at minimum, they've been in the Western Conference Finals, at minimum, since they've been healthy. And that's kind of what people expect from them. This isn't the same. These aren't the same guys, though. You know, I thought Desmond Bane has done a really good job on Klay. And Klay's one of those guys who's just trying to figure out, or who's trying to just show everybody that I can hold up. The elite Klay, I don't know if the elite Klay is gone, but it's more of, I'm trying to show that I can still hold up. Next year, we'll strive to get back to the elite Klay. But right now, I'm just trying to show that I can hold up. And if I can do that, then I'll be good. I thought that Golden State would make quick work of these dudes. Ja accelerated that with him not being available in the lineup. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, they are 20-5 with Ja out the lineup, so they can win without him. But you're dealing with a completely different group here. You're dealing with a completely different group, a more disciplined group, a more talented group, a more vet-laden group. So I think this series ends. In 5. So the playoffs, guys, this is what it is. This is absolutely what it is. And like I said, you're going to keep seeing me for as long as you want. When you don't want to see me no more, I'll go away. But until then, take it light, but take it.